Hi and welcome to Curator with a Camera. I'm Anthony Cools, Senior Curator of Rail Transport and Technology, and today we're going to have a look inside the very first 125 power car. We're here in the Great Hall of the National Railway Museum to have a really good look at the 125 power car, Sir Kenneth Grange. It's the first production power car. That means this was the very first one that entered service in the 1970s. It is an absolute icon of engineering and design. But what is it that makes the 125 special? Let's go and have a look. The 125 is born out of wanting to go faster on a creaking network, on an existing railway that has only just got rid of steam locomotives. The last steam engine runs on the main line in everyday service in August 1968. Less than a decade later, the 125 is there. And it's called the 125 because it's designed to run continuously at 125 miles an hour on the fastest parts of the national network. British Rail engaged a design consultant company employing Kenneth Grange. Now, Kenneth Grange is a name that we're going to hear again and again throughout our time looking at this loco. And Kenneth Grange was an industrial designer, and his company were engaged to look at how this train was going to look, the livery of it. Kenneth Grange couldn't resist thinking, well, how am I actually going to help make this thing go faster rather than just the look of it? And he came up with this wedge-shaped front end, which was so different to what had been before. Now you'll notice here that something that is very different and missing from the front end of the 125 are the buffers and the couplings and the draw gear that you see on a conventional locomotive. BR said to Kenneth Grange, these 125s will operate in fixed sets of power cars and carriages, therefore they do not need these traditional buffers and draw gear. And that gave Kenneth Grange the green light that he needed to give the 125 this stunning look, the look that is unencumbered by messy buffers and couplings, which I think you'd say would actually spoil the lines of it if it had buffers fitted. That chiselled, driving forward image that was so redolent of the 1970s BR publicity. This is the age of the train. This was the train of the future. This is the train that nobody actually realised it would manage to run for over 40 years and is still running on certain parts of the network today. But what's it like inside this thing? Let's go and have a look. Now we're in the cab of the locomotive and we'll have a little bit of a look around and see what's what. In essence, it's as it is when it was switched off for the last time in the summer of 2019 and brought into the museum. We've got all the marks of a working life on the locomotive, and we've got some of the notices from when it was last in use. Well, I always say that with a railway engine, it's the easiest thing in the world to make it go. How do you make it stop? Well, quite simply, we've got a very large brake handle here. And of course, you can't just put the brakes on because otherwise, the wheels would skid and you have all sorts of issues. And the passengers, of course, have a very, very bumpy ride. But you've got a very gradual brake there that can be applied smoothly and steadily to allow the train to decelerate. If that's the stop handle, how do you make it actually go? Very, very simple. Like the brake handle, there is a power handle here. There's a master key here which says off, which means it's turned off, engine only, and then rev and 4 for reverse and forward. That sets the direction. This is the power handle here. It has 5 notches from 0 to 5, and you take that through that. And that's as simple as it is. We do have a fail-safe though, of course, in front of us, and it's called the DSD, otherwise known as the dead man's pedal. And you have to keep your foot pressed on that at all times as the train's going along. If you take your foot off the pedal, then within a very short time, few seconds, the brakes will come on and the train will come to a complete stand. The bit that every child loves on a train is the horn. And we have 4 tones here. You've got high and low, which give the train that distinctive dee-dah that you hear, but you've got loud and soft. So if you're in a residential area or somewhere that you don't necessarily need to be quite so loud, but you still need the train to be heard, you can be a little more, how should we put it, respectful of those that you're surrounding with. So this is a view that 99% of our visitors will never get. It's quite ironic really that we're looking out at some of the steam exhibits in the museum, and the green engine here is a Stevenson long boiler locomotive from 1875, exactly 100 years before the 125, before Sir Kenneth Grange was created and hit the rails. And there's a whole century of locomotive development between the steam engine and this diesel electric high-speed train power car. You know, the steam engine there, it's full of soot, it's full of oil, it's cold, it's black, it gets you filthy. And here, we're in an air-conditioned cab, we've got a windscreen, we've got heaters, and we've even got very comfy seats. Hello Lee, give us a wave. Excellent. It's changed a lot throughout its life. It's been re-equipped, it's had re-engineered, it's had the new power unit put in, but the fabric of the train is still the same. This is still the 125 as it came into service in the 1970s. This is Sir Kenneth Grange as originally built.